I think we're lucky. We're very lucky. We live about 40, 60 miles from New York City. I live in Brooklyn. In New York City right now, there's so many meetups, startups, Silicon Alleys there. So it doesn't take much for us to get the wow factor over here 60 miles away. We do have to be curious. This is one of the main things that both STEM-related subjects and the arts both have failings in the sense that they aren't curious about just what's going on out there on the world stage. That we have to increase the curiosity, which is easy with a train ride back into the city. I try and keep my students up on like what's going on in the city that involves arts, technology, performance, art installations, and people who are basically addressing larger issues like these. What's a wow thing to me, these are called neurosensors or EEG sensors. This was given to me by the CEO of Emotive. It's about $1,000. It reads the EEG impressions from the brain. This does too. It's very low grade from this one, but the same wow factor is there. If, like Dave mentioned, we can have a student write the code to fly a helicopter with your emotions, pretty cool. Okay, but then there's a gimmicky aspect to this. What is not so gimmicky is the larger humanistic discourses of like, what do these things do for surveillance? How are we surveyed by this fact that these things are recording your innermost emotions, at least on the EEG level? And that's important, and certainly with my students, it's important to the wow not only comes through gimmicks and geeking out and all that other good stuff, but it comes through the larger discourses of what's important for society, what are the issues of surveillance. You know, even the IR camera in every building can read your face, read your emotion, read your heartbeat through your forehead, and all these things that border on something pretty incredible and dystopic. What we're aiming for as humanitarians is to geek out with these things, but to immediately talk about the larger questions, the larger pedagogical question, like, should we do this? And I think if we, as humanitarians and artists, get a hold of these things before actually the button-down scientists, or bring the scientists on for a level of human discourse, that would be tremendous. STEM and the STEAM. This is a byword, not just in this country, it's all over the world. I was a co-PI in a $700,000 grant from the Minister of Culture of Korea on increasing creativity in the school curriculum. How is that done? And the byline of that is like finding Steve Jobs. It's when Steve Jobs had just died. They said, we want a Korean Steve Jobs. And the conclusion we came to is like, you're not going to find one, because your whole system of STEM evaluation crushes the creative life out of most young kids. What kind of needs to happen for people to understand this, if you add the arts, hence the STEAM, into the strict STEM curriculum, you can have an opening for those kids who are just not even rebellious, just want to invent and look at the world a new way. And this is kind of, there are many systems for it, many white papers on it. Many schools want to increase this. This is the byline now, how to increase the innovation. But to me, the STEAM curriculum has to be very in the trenches. It has to be there with these things, with code, teaching humanitarians code, and teaching STEM scientists something about English 19th century poetry or something like that. That's the trade-off.